China Eastern 583's poor plane design causes chaos in the sky. April 6, 1993, Pacific Ocean, 34,000 feet above sea level. The hum of the engines echoed through the metallic belly of China Eastern Flight 583, a Boeing 767 en route from Shanghai to Los Angeles. Passengers lounged in their seats, lulled by the steady rhythm of the aircraft slicing through the clouds. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow through the small oval windows. In the cockpit, Captain Liu Wei, a seasoned pilot with over 20 years of flying experience, sipped his coffee, scanning the flight instruments. Beside him sat First Officer Chen Ming, younger but sharp, known for his precision and quick thinking. Flight 583 had been uneventful so far, until the unexpected happened. A slight tremor shook the plane. Nothing alarming, at first. "Chen, did you feel that?" Captain Liu asked, narrowing his eyes at the control panel. Chen nodded, frowning. "Minor turbulence, I think." But then it happened. The control yoke jerked violently in Liu's hands as the plane suddenly pitched nose down. Oxygen masks deployed with a hiss, dropping from the overhead compartments. Passengers screamed, trays flew, and the plane's altitude dropped sharply. In the cockpit, alarms blared. Chen's eyes widened as he spotted the issue. "Captain, the leading-edge slats just deployed mid-flight."
"What?"
"That's impossible," Liu barked, wrestling with the controls. But it wasn't impossible. The plane was now plummeting, 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet. The slats, designed to help during takeoff and landing, had extended at cruising speed, disrupting the airflow and causing severe instability. The cabin descended into chaos. Mei Ling, a software engineer on her first international trip, gripped the armrests, her heart racing. Beside her, David Collins, an American businessman, was frantically pressing the call button. "This can't be happening," Mei whispered, tears threatening. David, pale-faced but composed, glanced at her. "They're trained for this. They'll pull us out." Yet the violent shaking said otherwise. Back in the cockpit. "Pull it back. We're losing too much altitude," Chen shouted. Liu gritted his teeth, forcing the control yoke back with all his strength, but the plane fought against him. The poorly designed control system made it almost impossible to retract the slats. "Override it." Chen fumbled with the manual controls, sweat beading on his brow. "It's not responding." Then, in a horrifying twist, the plane pitched up too sharply as Liu overcompensated, causing the aircraft to stall. The engines whined in protest as the nose tilted toward the sky. "Damn it!" Liu slammed his hand on the console. "We're caught in a stall spiral." The sensation of weightlessness hit like a punch. Luggage rained from the overhead bins. Mei floated for a split second before being slammed back into her seat. The roar of the engines was deafening. "Brace! Brace for impact!" the flight attendant screamed, their voices nearly lost in the chaos. Mei grabbed David's hand instinctively. "I don't want to die here." David locked eyes with her, his calm demeanor cracking. "We're not going to." But even he didn't believe it. Back in the sky, Liu's mind raced. The Boeing 767's design flaw had turned a minor slip into a life-or-death situation. The slat deployment lever was dangerously sensitive, a problem he'd read about but never thought he'd face. Chen, cut hydraulic power to the slats. "That's risky." "Do it." Chen flipped the switch. Instantly, the plane shuddered again, but the slats began retracting. Liu seized the opportunity, adjusting the pitch, leveling the wings. But they weren't safe yet. A new alarm wailed. "Engine overheating. Altitude's too low." Chen gasped. "We're barely at 10,000 feet." Liu's hands danced over the controls. "We can make it." The violent shaking slowed. Passengers who'd been bracing for impact now sat wide-eyed, unsure if they were safe. Mei exhaled shakily. "We're still here." David let out a breathless laugh. "I guess we are." But then, a jarring lurch. One of the engines sputtered, threatening failure. "Not yet," David muttered. Liu spotted a break in the clouds, the endless stretch of the Pacific beneath them. If the engine died now, they have no choice but to attempt a water landing. Prepare for ditching, Lou announced grimly over the intercom. Panic reignited in the cabin. Chun, thinking fast, rerouted power to the remaining engine. Come on, baby, hold together. The seconds stretched endlessly. Lou fought the sluggish controls, guiding the damaged plane downward, aiming for a calm stretch of ocean. The water loomed closer. Then, a sudden surge of power. The sputtering engine roared back to life for one last burst. Lou pulled the yoke, lifting the nose just enough to avoid a catastrophic dive. The plane skimmed the waves, then ascended slightly, stabilizing at 5,000 feet. Cheers erupted in the cabin. An hour later, Flight 583 made an emergency landing at Anchorage International Airport. Paramedics flooded the tarmac as passengers, shaken but alive, disembarked. Captain Liu and First Officer Chen sat in the cockpit, silent for a beat before Chen spoke. You pulled off a miracle. Liu shook his head. We got lucky. But this plane, it's a death trap. The investigation later revealed that the Boeing 767's design flaw, a too sensitive slat handle, had caused the chaos. Changes were made, but for those on Flight 583, the memory would never fade. For May and David, who kept in touch after their harrowing experience, it was a reminder that sometimes it's not just the sky that's unpredictable, it's fate itself.